everyone, welcome back to my channel, Life as a Law Student. My name is Nicole and I'm a law student officially as of today. I'm going to my first class basically right after I upload this video, and so in honor of that I wanted to make a reaction video to the personal statement that helped get me here. Say goodbye to that intro screen that you just saw because this will be its last appearance. Hopefully this will also be the last time I don't have a consistent background behind me, but we'll see how that goes. All right, let's get into this. I'll record my screen so you guys can see what I am. One quick thing, I'm not gonna address really the process of how I wrote this statement in this video. I've already done that in another video, which I will link right here for you. So make sure that you check that out. All right, so this is my screen that I'm looking at right now. The personal statement is about 2 pages, but I will read through it with you and react as we go. So we begin with, my experience as a Christian in America would leave the members of the historical and global church speechless in light of the merciless persecution they have faced for the sake of the same faith I claim. Alright, so that's a pretty long and dramatic sentence. I remember specifically spending days and weeks just trying to figure out how to word this and work it the right way. And I felt like at the time it was the best way to do it, but reading it now I still wish I would have been able to make it a little bit more succinct and relatable, I guess. Let's keep going. In this nation, though, I find unprecedented protection in identifying myself as a believer in Jesus Christ without fear of physical harm or discrimination for doing so. Men and women of the United States of America who may or may not share my faith fight every day under the motto, "In God we trust," ensuring with their lives that these rights will never be taken away from me or any other citizen of this country. Again, it sounds pretty dramatic, but I would defend that here because what I'm saying is a serious claim that our country was built and still is run every single day under this banner of "In God we trust," which the courts have ruled, by the way, is not the government ascribing to a particular religion. But still, as a Christian, it means a lot to me. I wanted to convey the gravity of what I was talking about with the words I was using, and I think that's generally accomplished here. I plan to join them and dedicate my life to ethically practicing as a district attorney. I am eager to accept the responsibility of upholding the Constitution that has granted me and countless others the freedom to openly worship God. I know that is not a privilege everyone shares. So I'm basically using this paragraph to set up why American law in particular is important to me as a Christian, because I'm going to be talking about later about how my Christian convictions specifically and especially equip me to be passionate about and good at legal skills and legal enforcement. Writing this essay, I'm aware that my audience may not share my specifically faith-based motivations for restoring justice where it has been compromised. Alright, sorry to stop again so soon. This was something I remember debating whether or not to include. I didn't want to isolate my audience based on whether or not they shared my faith, and so I wanted to acknowledge that they could come from a different perspective or worldview than me, but I still wanted them to understand why this matters as something that validates me as a good candidate for their school. I realize the gravity of my claim that the only sense I can make of the unjust, broken world in which we live is through the truth I find in my Christian faith. I believe that the sacrifice of Jesus, outlined in the Gospels, details God's engagement with justice at his own expense. But I also appreciate, and in fact rejoice, that's a typo, that comma should have gone after "in." Dang it. In the knowledge that my peers in law school of different ideological persuasions than I can also chase after our common interest of creating a better home. Distributive, procedural, restorative, and retributive justice conceptualize and manifest appropriately under the supervision of a beautifully diverse people group, and I am honored to be pursuing such a community. So I absolutely tried to find the biggest and most impressive words to put in this section of the essay, but I genuinely mean what I'm saying there. That although of course I wish everyone would believe the same thing I do, of course I wish that everyone would have a relationship with Jesus Christ, I do see beauty in healthy conflict, and I think that when you have diverse backgrounds and ideas, that forces you to sharpen your own and to make sure that it can stand up to people who have valid arguments on another side as you. I mean, that's what being a lawyer is pretty much all about, is being able to argue but not to fight with the opposing side to reach a conclusion that is just and right for all parties involved. The communities from which I come have not been as diverse as the one I am seeking to join. I hold a two-sided coin. My perspective, though limited in reach to this point, is unique and secure. I grew up under parents who passed their faith on to myself and my 2 younger siblings. They sent me to distinctly Christian schools for the large majority of my education, sacrificing much of themselves along the way. After graduating from high school, I saw academic and spiritual challenges, so I chose Wheaton College. Up to this point, my exposure to realities other than those colored by my faith were limited, so Wheaton's proximity to the gun violence and racial injustice of Chicago, juxtaposed with its religious commitment, made it a perfect fit for what I wanted to experience going forward. This is probably the section of my essay that I'm most disappointed with, just because I don't think that I conveyed exactly what I was going for in how short of a section it is. And that's not necessarily my fault, because you really do only get 2 pages to tell this whole life story of why you should be going to law school. And so this was my story paragraph of, here's the story of my life. I grew up in a Christian home. I went to a Christian school, but you shouldn't just think that I'm in a Christian bubble because I thought about these other things outside of the Christian bubble. And I care about these things. Reading it again, I don't think that just saying, well, Wheaton is close to Chicago and Chicago has issues, really does a lot to communicate what I was going for. Again, this is a situation where I don't know off the bat how I would improve it, but I definitely wish I would have continued to work through it, or maybe just change the concept altogether of why Wheaton did expand my horizons and thinkings and worldview without attributing that just to its location. The opportunities I've participated in while at Wheaton, such as volunteering over spring break at a women's prison in Texas and being mentored by a professor to present research on how court proceedings can be improved, have supplemented and enabled my passion to find a home in the legal workforce. Last summer, I worked with the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office and confirmed my drive to be a part of searching for the truth along with those who identify as atheists, agnostics, Jews, Catholics, Muslims, Buddhists, and every other religious background. I had the chance to do exactly that this summer, and I learned that a just society for any person must be a just society for every person. So this was my resume paragraph. Obviously, they also got my resume, but I wanted to make sure that I had distinct examples I could list where my Christian faith did impact my relation to the legal world, like going to a prison, like working at the district attorney's office, and like studying court proceedings. I also learned after I submitted this personal statement that that last phrase, a just society for any person must be a just society for every person, is indirectly derived from a more famous phrase, which I can't remember right now. As the Bible tells us, there's nothing new under the sun, and I guess great minds think alike. For this reason, I find no greater purpose in my life than to seek justice, not only for the sake of fellow believers, but for each person in this country. Participants in every religion, members of each nationality, and all lifestyles represented in America have the incredible liberty to form and share their opinions. This, among the other rights protected by our Constitution, adds to the value of what it means to be free. I want to attend law school so I can take part in what I hold to be the closest thing this world has to a true justice system, working to uphold those rights every day. So here's how I tried to bring it all together, talking about America broadly, talking about believers versus non-believers, and why I want to be a part of protecting those rights for everybody because of my Christian faith. True justice is something that only God has control over. He's the only one who was there in every situation, knows exactly what happened, and not just the versions that each party might tell. But until Jesus comes back, all we've got is a broken system of he said, she said, and trying to figure out what actually happened so that we can apply consequences that we think are reasonable to the appropriate party, acknowledging that we can never restore true peace, comfort, or restitution to the victims of a situation, because what's done is done, and time may heal all wounds, but it does not heal all scars. I think regardless of how horribly some people have been treated by the American justice system, and as tragically as it has failed time and time again, we are so blessed to be able to represent ourselves in front of a jury or a judge, to be able to, for the most part, appeal those decisions if we feel like something has been wrong, to have a process that isn't just sitting in the cell for years and years and years and no one ever talking to you or hearing your side of the story. And do we have a long way to go? Absolutely. Are there a bazillion problems that I would love to be part of fixing? 100%. But I think we spend so much time bashing the system for the ways that it has done wrong, that we don't spend any time being appreciative that we have the system we do, instead of what would be our reality living in almost any other country in the world. That's not exactly what I was talking about in the personal statement here, but I do think I hinted at it in the last paragraph. And I didn't want to go on a tangent in the personal statement like I just did on camera here, because that doesn't tell a story about me that differentiates my perspective from anyone else's going into law school, even if there's evidence of other beliefs and convictions that you subscribe to that kind of make their way in there too. Couple quick things related to this video. First off, I wanted to remind you to check out the link that I have in the description of my services regarding helping you write your personal statement. There's a couple different levels of services that I offer depending on what you're looking for. And so while I hope that the videos I have put on here and the other resources that I direct you to on my website, also linked below, totally help you in being able to conquer this all by yourself, in case you feel like an extra set of eyes or ears would help boost you up to the next level, I'm totally here for that and I got your back. Second, I was originally going to make this video a lot longer with not only my reaction to my personal statement, but my reaction to the other essays that I wrote for law school applications as well. I decided I didn't have time to film all of that in one sitting. And so if you would like to see my reaction to those other essays that I wrote more specifically tailored to individual schools that I applied to, make sure you like this video and let me know in the comments below, and I will definitely be happy to make that at a different time for you guys. I can't wait to share with you my new apartment and my law school classes and how that whole transition has been with me in the next coming weeks, so make sure that you hit that bell notification so you don't miss out when I post a new video. You'll also need to subscribe, obviously. Your support means the world to me, and I hope that you know that I am here to support you as well. So always feel free to reach out and I will do my best to respond to each and every one of you. I love you guys so much, and I will see you next week for my first official Life as a Law Student video. Until then, have a great week and God bless.